Welcome. Good morning, everybody. How are we doing today? First off, I want to apologize for not putting out a video here. It's been, I know it's been a couple weeks, and we've been wanting to put something out, but of course, summertime, you know how it is, keeps everybody busy. You don't want to be inside, you want to be out doing things, and well, unfortunately, that means we couldn't put out a video. But we're going to dedicate some time this morning here to putting out a couple for you guys, and yeah. Hopefully we can get a couple done here right away. Of course, I got my buddy with me, Killa, here, who's got all the good stories that you guys have been enjoying. And, well, let's get into it, I guess. Good morning.
Let's just go with, please do not do this stuff because it will get you in trouble. And I don't want a phone call from some guy saying that, hey, I learned this stuff on YouTube.
Right. We keep bringing that up, but we have to make mention that it is, we don't want to hear your stories about our stories. It's not the idea here by sharing this stuff, right?
This is to sort of maybe keep you away from this, maybe save some lives. Anyhow, so today we're going to go back a little bit, and we're going to go, because we went basically from where it became a recreation to an addiction.
Yeah.
So now you're basically a cokehead.
Right.
And you wake up one morning, well, actually you don't wake up, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, you probably haven't slept for a day or two, partying up, just made a phone call to the dealer, and he's not answering the phone, you're pissed off.
So right now you're just regular ass.
You're just regular ass, but you're doing it a lot more. Now you're doing it, before it was just every once in a while on a weekend, maybe once a month, twice a month. Now you're doing it weekends, you're doing it on a Thursday night, Wednesday night, you've got
right.
Pool League on Tuesday night, you're doing a few rails on Tuesday night now. It's becoming a weekly thing.
It doesn't seem like there's a decline in any sense at this point. You're getting more and more, right?
Yeah, you're getting more and more into it, and you're drinking a lot more, you're hanging out a lot more, but you know what? I don't know, it's not really a plus, but at that point in time, I was actually hanging out and partying with a lot of cute girls and that, so you get laid all the time, too.
Right, that's a...
well,
there's a draw right there in itself.
Well, because you start partying, do a couple lines, girls doing a couple. It's just the way things go.
Yeah. So what kind of transitioned you from just the regular everyday user to the next step?
The more I was using, the more I realized I was actually starting to become friends with the two guys that I was buying my dope from on a regular basis.
So you had one steady supplier at this point?
Actually, I was using two guys, actually. One of them, and they have names. One of them was named Bird. The other guy was named, I'll call him the goatherder.
That sounds good, the goatherder.
Well, it was a little thing he came up with for some reason. He had this thing. He always had a lot of women around him.
Right.
And
so
I started bugging him about they were all being goats because of the way they followed him around.
Yeah.
And it just sort of stuck that I started calling him a goat herder, and then everybody started calling him herder.
Yeah.
But it was just hilarious. Anyway, so I'm rolling with these guys on a regular basis, and they keep on telling me, you know what? Quit spending your own money. We'll start you up with an ounce or so and start dealing yourself. And I knew a lot of people in the bars, and it was coming to the point where, anyways, my buddies were calling me up, or I'd run into a guy who at a party or whatever would see me doing rails and say, "Hey, can you get me some of that?"
Yeah.
He would throw me $100. Well, for $100, he wanted a gram. For $150, I could get an 8-ball.
Right.
Which is 3.5 grams. So now, if I throw him $50, I've got 2.5 grams.
Right. So this is now where it's changing into,
and I think
your buddies you're just naturally becoming that supplier.
Yeah,
in a sense.
and when I was broke and stuff like that, I noticed I was calling up my buddies to see if they wanted to get some, so that I could even say to my buddy when I would pick up, "Hey, here's $100. I'll owe you 50. Give me an 8-ball. I'll be back in a little while."
Yeah,
and it sort of transitioned, and then they were basically now my buddy says to me, Buddy Bird says to me, he says, "Here, I'll just give you an ounce now."
Right.
And you start dealing.
Yeah.
So I start dealing in the bars, and I know everybody anyways. So
you're already in the loop.
I'm in the loop
sense.
Because I was always seeing for the last few months anyways, I was seeing with these two guys that were well known.
Yeah.
And now people are starting to come to me.
Right. Well, was there ever a fear, like, I don't want to sound gay or anything, but was there ever some kind of fear of buying coke in a sense, like from people? Like, when you're buying it, who are you getting it from?
Well,
like, is that maybe why that people were coming to you because they already knew you?
There's some sketchy situations, no, but once you start using it, it's basically just later on you'll find out in more of the stories we go into, it's basically supply and demand. It's whoever has the product, they'll take it from.
Right.
And I've seen people go into, I've been in some sketchy environments when I was an addict and stuff like that, that I would have never been in had I been straight and sober.
Yeah.
Like that you might not walk out of some of these environments.
Right, right.
And not at the time, you don't really think that, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah. So now your buddies are buying it off every time you see them in the bar.
Yeah, every time I see them in that, and now I'm starting to make a few bucks. You know, I'm starting to get quite a bit of clientele. People are knowing me. I'm carrying, okay, don't laugh, but this is a time before cell phones. Okay, so I'm carrying around a pager. People are phoning and stuff like that. You know, pagers. Yes, ha ha ha.
Yeah. Back when there was payphones on the street.
Yes, there was a payphone every corner.
Right. Now you don't see any at all.
Well, it's now you have to go. You have to look around. There's
super rural areas. Anyway.
Yeah, they're few and far between, right?
Yeah. So now you've got the goods.
I've got the goods, and so now you start to realize that there's people that get a bit out of hand when they're high or when they're drunk and they don't have any cash left, and you won't give them stuff for free.
Right. How did you ever keep like a logbook in a sense of who owed you money?
No, I was very good in math in school. I was actually on the honor roll for math, and so for some reason my math skills are just extreme, and I can remember numbers. Can't remember a guy's name, but I can remember a guy's face and
put a face to a number.
And know what he owed me. And I usually gave people handles anyways.
Yeah. Like
Dirty Dave and stuff like that, just so I could remember certain people, because I am so bad with names.
Dirty Dave.
Dirty Dave.
That was that.
That was a different guy, and we'll get into that later on,
right.
of how he actually went to jail. But
okay, so now
anyways, I've started to realize that, hey, I'm a fairly big guy, but I can't take out 2 or 3 guys by myself at once if I'm to get jumped.
Right.
I'm walking around a lot of times with anywhere from 3 to 5 to 10 grams of coke.
That's a lot when everybody knows that all of a sudden you're selling it.
Yeah,
right?
it's all in flaps and stuff like that. I'm usually walking around with $500 at least in my pocket, and I could be rolling around with $3 grand.
Yeah.
So it's time to get some buddies to sort of maybe watch my back every once in a while.
Right.
So I basically look for 2 guys that I know that are users a bit here and there and that like to party and stuff like that. Because if I'm supplying them and buying their drinks and stuff at the bar so they can go out on a nightly basis, they're in.
Right.
So I find one of the biggest guys I could find. We'll call him the master.
Yeah.
And then I had another buddy of mine. We'll call him. Oh man, I can't.
We don't even have to say names.
Well, no, I have to call him something, because then when I talk about him later on.
Call him Junior.
We'll call him Junior then.
Call him Junior.
Yeah, he's not around anymore, but I just don't want. There's a lot of bad things that are going to come up in the next little bit, and so I just don't want to have a real guy's
So
name.
You've got the master and you've got the junior, kind of watching your back while you're doing these deals. Now you're not.
And these people in the bar are knowing what's going on, like the waitresses, the waiters, the bartenders, they know what's going on, and they sort of want their piece too.
Yeah.
So I'm a smart guy. There's a couple bars I hang out on a regular basis, but they all have huge lineups on a Friday and Saturday night. And a lot of times I have to leave for a bit here and there because I'm only packing so much on me.
Yeah.
You know, at the time, and I run out during the night, so I'd have to leave and come back and wait in some huge-ass lineup. So it's just a pain in the ass. So I get smart. So I get Junior to get a job at one of the major bars I'm rolling at.
Nice.
And I put the master at the other one.
Nice.
I get them because they're big boys and they get bouncer jobs.
Yeah.
So when I want to get into a bar, if I know the bouncer at the door,
just makes life that much easier.
All of a sudden now I'm first in line.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not waiting anymore.
Yeah.
Well, some of the bars start to pick up on what's going on, because at some of the other bars, I was paying bouncers to let me in the back door and stuff like that. They start to realize what's going on. So now I'm starting to get so busy that I don't have enough time to supply everybody I want.
Now, not to mention at this point, you're probably still kind of working.
No,
I'm really.
I'm done working.
That's it. You're done working.
I'm done working.
You've realized that now you can make $50 on, whatever it is.
Well, no, I know that in about a 2-hour period on a Friday night, I can make $3 or $4 grand.
Oh, Jesus.
Why go to work?
Yeah.
And be high and be partying every night of the week? Why do I
a
want
bunch
to go
of
to
chicks? Yeah.
You know, getting laid by different women all the time, because as soon as you start giving out free rails, girls had a couple of drinks, it's all over.
Yeah.
You know, because she's going to do whatever you want her to do, so she can keep on getting high all night for free.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why, in a sense, good-looking women have it fucking made, and that's why there's probably a few good-looking addicts out there, because the fact is, they get a lot of free stuff in the beginning.
Yeah. So now you've transitioned into
I'm a full-fledged drug dealer.
Right.
So you got to watch my back, but like I said, I don't have enough time to deal with everybody, and I bring 5 grams into the bar, and they're gone within minutes, and now I got to leave again. I'm gone for half an hour.
Yeah.
Now, if there's somebody else selling in that bar, these people are going to go to them.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, you got to keep people happy. I used to tell people when cell phones came out and I started using a cell phone, I'd get a guy calling me, and I would say, oh, I'll be there in 2 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm half an hour away. And then when he would call me back in 5-10 minutes saying, where are you? I'd say, hey, I was just on the corner there. Didn't you see the white truck pull up? And I would fish him along for another 10-15 minutes till I was actually in that area.
Right.
Because if they thought that you were going to, if you told them, I'm not going to be there for another half an hour, they would just go find somebody else.
Yeah. So you got to keep them basically like on the hook. Yeah.
So basically the best thing to do is get a couple of people to start running my dope for me in the bars.
Wow.
So that I just give them 10 flaps each at a time, and when they start getting low, they just sort of let me know. I can go pick up or whatever, and do what I got to do, go cut up my dope, flap it all up and stuff like that, and be back at the bar before they're out.
Yeah.
So that there's never a time when somebody's out. Yeah, so nobody, because nobody wants to run out of dope.
No.
You know, and that's the worst thing. So they'll go wherever to get it.
Yeah.
So now I've got a couple of guys running my dope in the bar. So that, and also now I can cover more places at the same time. You know what I mean? I don't have to. I can sit in one bar while they're at 2 other bars.
So now you put a little bit of trust into these guys that
not so much trust, but you're taking a chance. So first you start off with, you give them $200-300 worth of dope, so that they can make $50-100. You're going to get about 300 back. And so the loss isn't that huge.
And of course, back then, everything's cash in hand. There's no such thing as nowadays. These new dealers got these swipers on credit card swipers on your iPhone.
Yeah, no, that is straight up cash. This is all cash in hand. Like I would give it to my guys, and then they would sell it. But then there's always things. Oh, I lost this or I lost that. But as we go on,
you got to fluctuate for loss.
There's certain things that you pick up on, and there's certain things you can do to avoid losses, like not giving your runners dope at 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning when you know things are just about to die out.
Right. Okay. So now let's get to partly on the structure, not the structure, but the, like we've said before, like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays.
Yeah. So
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Those are just your average days, right? Where you're not partying as much, but there is still a few people out there partying and stuff like that. You've got the odd person calling you and that, so it's not that busy. So basically, you're just sort of running your own dope. Your runners are sort of maybe, you're not giving them dope in the beginning, but they're calling you up if they find somebody that wants some, and that they're swinging by and stuff like that.
And you're dealing in just small amounts, like just little flaps. At this point.
half grams, 8 balls, sort of things like that, right? Basically, just personal usage stuff.
Right.
As we go on, I start to supply other guys, so it starts to get bigger where I'm giving guys ounces, 2 ounces, quarter pound, stuff like that.
Well, yeah, when you're doing 3 to 5 grand on a Friday or Saturday night.
Yeah, but it doesn't take that much, because you're taking, a lot of times back then too, I would take a quarter pound, which is 4 ounces. I would take that, I would add buff to it because I was shown how to do that, and when we go on, you're going to be disgusted at some of the things that are used as buff to bring up the quantity of the dope. And then I would make it into half-gram flaps, $50 flaps.
Yeah.
But the thing is that out of an 8 ball, you should only get 7 50-gram flaps. But you would make 10. So
because you cut it so much.
Well, not even that, but because you're not actually, you're eyeing I eyed everything up. So basically, I would take I would take an ounce and break it down into 4 pieces.
Yeah.
And then, so now I have 4 quarters.
Yeah.
Okay, then I would take the quarter and split it in half. Now I have 2 8 balls.
Right.
Okay, and doing it by eye, now I would just take the 8 ball and I would just cut it into 10 even piles.
All by eye.
All by eye.
Wow.
make paper flaps and fill the flaps.
Yeah.
And while you're doing a line here or there, right? And you always make sure that you take out some person before you. But when I first open up the QP, the first thing I do is take out about a quarter.
Yeah.
For
yourself?
For my own,
right.
And now I put about a quarter to a half ounce of buff into it.
So what do they use as buff? Like what?
Well, there's lots of different things. So if you're just doing it right into the powder form, you can add baby laxative. There's lots of different glucose, which is just sugar.
Yeah.
But the baby lax is a big one.
That's the big one. Where do you get baby laxative?
You buy it at a store.
You seriously just can buy laxative?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you can buy it for humans.
What's a baby?
Right?
Yeah.
You can just get it. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And
so does it? You go to the pharmacy. You go to the pharmacy. And you're like, can I have some baby laxative?
No, yeah.
You're not toting a baby around.
You just go down to the aisle. It's a powder form, right?
Oh, okay.
So basically what it is, it's a jar or it's a container of powder.
Yeah. Then you can buy it in.
Yeah, you buy it in bulk. You can
Okay.
buy it in case lots.
Right. Okay.
So, anyways, but glucose you can find anywhere. Powdered sugar form you can find anywhere, right? So that's usually the easier one to come up with. But the baby laxative was cheaper, and actually, the glucose you could taste it eventually. Like if you put too much in, you could taste that sugary thing.
Is that why people like always wipe it on their gums?
Yeah.
What's that? When you see it in the movies, they're like, "Oh yeah, this is good coke."
Yeah,
and then they rub it on their gums.
To
like,
me, that's a load of crap. But it's just freezing your gums and stuff like that. But that's other stuff that's in the cocaine. That's not actually the cocaine doing that.
Oh, really?
And we'll get into that later on too.
Yeah.
And the purities of cocaine. And I've heard, oh yeah, I've had 100% cocaine. Okay, when they first make the cocaine, it's never 100% because they have to add stuff to make it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it can't be 100%. I think what I've read and stuff and some of the other things I've seen, I think it's about 88.9% is the purest you could ever get. Like that's straight from the boat coming out of Colombia.
That's Tony Montana, Sosa, stuff fresh off the airplane.
Yeah, basically. So anyways, so let's get back to it. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are a bit slow.
Yeah.
Summertime, it doesn't matter what day of the week it is, because if it's nice out, people are partying anyways.
Especially like a spring break or whatever.
Yeah, those are just crazy.
Yeah.
But your big days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and even Sunday. And Sundays, because a lot of times as people are partying hard Saturday, it continues into Sunday.
Right.
And it goes into Sunday evening, knowing that that's the last of their weekend, and then Monday they go back to work sort of thing.
Yeah.
So those can be good days. So you can keep busy, you can make good money.
So there you go. Now you're at the point where you're completely supplied your own doings and completely.
Yeah, I'm picking up quarter.
You're taking care of all of your bills, your living expenses, your eating expenses, which doing coke, you're not eating a whole lot.
But the thing is that I had a place, like I was renting a place and stuff like that, but I stayed in a lot of hotels.
Yeah.
Like
you were hopping around lots.
I was hopping around lots, and because of the fact is I sort of lived on the outskirts of town. Yeah. If I could rent a hotel room downtown and do all my business right out of the hotel room downtown, it was a lot quicker than driving all the way to my place to pick up another 10 or 20 flaps.
Right.
You know, or when I had to repick.
And did you move around because you were worried that people might have been following you?
No, I was moving around because I was worried that the cops were figuring out what was going on. I was going to get jacked. My whole thing was not going to jail. I was not going to go to jail. I was not going to jail.
Yeah.
And that's why it made it a lot easier. If I had a hotel room close by, all I would do is just put stashes of dope inside the hotel room, and when my buddies
got a little heaty or something.
No, when my runners ran out, I would just give them the hotel room key, tell them where the next stash was. They would give me the cash before they leave, and then they would go get the stash themselves. So I could just sit in the bar. I didn't have to even leave now.
Right.
And so I could do what I wanted to do, which was partying with the women.
Right.
You know, hanging out. But still, I was an extremely good salesman. I could talk people into a lot of things. So
you talking? No. Talking people into that? No, there's no way.
But the best one is, and then I would find out, if I wasn't bouncing back and forth out of the bar all the time, I could also find out what was going on that night, like where the parties were and stuff like that.
Right.
Before I got runners going on, I would miss out on so much, because the fact is, all I was doing was bouncing back and forth selling dope. But I wasn't really enjoying myself. I was just
just running yourself.
I was basically running.
How many runners did you have at one point?
As we go on, it gets up to the point where I had about 7 or 8.
Wow.
At the same time. And plus then other guys that were like buying large quantities to go sell for themselves.
Yeah.
But were paying me cash all the time.
Wow.
Runners can be a big chance, and there's a lot of times, like as we go later on and stuff.
They run off with your goods.
Well, that's basically where I think they get their name from, is the fact that if you don't pay attention to them, watch them, that, yeah, they will run off with your goods. And a lot of them end up being, in the beginning, you try to get them when they're not so addicted to the dope, but as time goes on and the more they work for you, the just worse it gets because they want to be like you.
Yeah.
You know, they see what you got. They see all these women going on that you're partying, having a good time while they're out slinging your dope.
Yeah.
You know, eventually some of them clue in. Not a lot, but some of them clue in that, hey, I can do what he's fucking doing.
Right. Why
am I selling his dope?
Yeah.
And
so that's how do you keep them down just enough then?
Because you do little things for them and you keep them high a lot of the times. Like in the downtime, you don't give them, while they're out there selling dope, they don't really have a lot of time to think about it. And so then when they're back in the downtime, if you can keep them high and keep them partying and keep them happy, you know, give them a few things every once in a while. Like I used to give my guys clothes and stuff like that, or hook them up with a hot chick that they've been eyeing up or whatever.
Yeah.
Just for the night or whatever, just to keep them happy. So, oh yeah, Dave's he's a good guy sort of thing, you know.
So there you go. You're now dealing full tilt. You got some runners working for you. Things are looking up.
Well, yeah, things are looking up, but you're starting to notice a lot of people are starting to look at you too. Like, so this is what happens. So it goes on for a while where I'm selling dope out of these bars. People know who I am.
How long of a period would you say you've been doing this?
Probably
before you maybe move to the next stage.
This is back in the day still when cocaine was. It wasn't really mainstream. Crack wasn't even heard of. It was still freebase back then. It was a few years where things were rolling along and, you know, things were good.
Yeah.
And then shit starts to hit the fan. We hung out there was a group of us now. And we're sort of rolling together, you know, hanging out all the time. It's the same people all the time. So we're starting to get spotted by cops. And people are starting to figure out that we don't have real jobs.
Yeah, right.
Like, that there must be something up, because how are we in the bar almost every single night? And it seems like this 6 or 7 of us are always in the bar.
Right.
Plus some added people to it.
You've got an entourage going on.
Yeah, there's a few people that are starting to realize what's going on. Also, we have some people that are in that group that are starting to become addicts that really can't afford their habits anymore.
And that's a problem.
And crazy things happen.
Yeah.
My buddy Bird, for the longest time, good guy, excellent guy. Probably one of the best people I've met in the drug business. We have another buddy, Easy, and I call him Easy because the guy would sleep with just about anything. Some of the women I've seen this guy with, he was a little shorter guy, were just ridiculous. He starts getting addiction, then nobody will help him out anymore. He owes every single one of us money now, and nobody will help him out anymore.
Yeah.
So what he does is he sets up a robbery of my buddy Bird.
Holy shit.
And we're all friends.
Yeah.
So Easy and Bird know each other well.
Yeah.
Hanging out together all the time.
Yeah.
So he sets up a deal and has these other 2 guys come with him to rob Bird. Knowing that Bird's going to show up by himself because he's trusting, because it's through Easy, blah, blah, blah. They know each other, so it's just going to be, he's figuring it's just going to come and meet Easy, and the way it goes.
Yeah.
Well, things get out of hand.
Wow.
One thing leads to another. Now my buddy Bird's dead.
Oh, Jesus.
And this is what we find out afterwards, right? So, and the stories come out, things start to get a bit crazy.
Yeah.
Cops start to come around a bit more, and especially after the murder, now they're really wondering what's going on.
Yeah.
Because he was in that crew with us, so now they're really eyeing us up.
And from what I've seen on TV and stuff like that, cops keep eyes on certain people, and they know what's going on.
They know what's going on. There was a hotel that they knew that all these hookers were running out of.
Yeah.
Okay. And there were drug dealers staying there and the whole 9 yards. And they didn't come and bust the place once.
They didn't want to bust it because it screws up their
operation.
Yeah.
It was right across the street from a bank, and what they did was they sat on the 3rd floor of the bank with cameras watching the place the whole time.
Yeah.
And then came in and did a sweep.
Right.
And then busted like 35 people all at the same time.
Wow.
Crazy. Yeah, I got lucky on those. I just happened to luck out and not be there at the right time.
Timing is everything.
Timing is everything.
Yeah.
walking out my door, seeing cops. Go back.
Right.
Through the back window.
I remember you telling me this. Yeah.
So, anyways, but we'll get into that at another time.
Well, there you go. Hopefully, it's.
But there's still. You get to a point when the cops start to realize and know you by name. They come around, and this is the way that they try to push things. They try to get some information out of the bartenders and the owners and stuff like that. So they push heat on the bartenders.
Right.
They push heat on the owners of the bar. And what they did was they actually came around with pictures of 3 of us and said, these people are
in questionable activities.
Yes, are known of doing illegal activities. We no longer want them hanging out in your bar.
Yeah.
So you're going to ban them from your bar.
Wow.
Basically, what they do is, and it was a smaller area I was living in at the time, they basically blackballed us from these 3 main bars in the city.
And these, of course, were the ones that you were...
Where I was making all my money.
Right. You had your guys
I still had my guys sort of running in and out of there, but it was becoming more and more of a hassle because what would happen is if I wasn't around keeping an eye on things, other bouncers that were working at these bars started to figure out if they jacked up my runner, came to me and said, we're banning him for life because we caught him selling dope in the washroom. But if you give me $100, we'll let it slide.
Huh.
So they're basically bribing me.
Right. Then
they would do it all the time. They need an extra $100. They know my guys are in there. What they're doing, they just jack them up right there.
Shit. That's dirty. Well, yeah.
Well, I was keeping everybody happy, and you know what? People are doing coke or buying more booze because it's just part of the process.
Oh man, so I remember the few times that I've done it that you can drink and drink and drink and drink.
Everything's
so much easier to do. You feel like an all-star when you're doing it.
But so we'll end this off with the fact that now I'm blackballed from the bars.
Yeah.
I really got to either move or figure something out. And my choice was the heat's becoming too bad. So I'm going to move to another city.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a move.
Move to another city.
Move to another city.
Whoa.
And move to a bigger city. So that I won't get well known.
Right,
and so I can blend in a little bit bigger because the city I was living in was a little bit smaller. So now I'm going to move to a metropolis.
Oh, okay.
Because it's easier to blend in. You don't stick out as much.
Yeah.
Now I have hundreds of bars to choose from.
Right.
Not just 3 or 4.
Right.
And so this is where the process begins.
Well, I'm interested to hear more. Well, let's end it at that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode here. We are going to do something different at the end of our episodes here. I'm going to showcase a gameplay, being that we have it running in the background. We're going to showcase some gameplay, whether it be Call of Duty, Battlefield, Grand Theft Auto, whatever it is. And it's going to be entries from your guys' clips. So our next one that we have here, I'll put them up on the screen. You can follow them on Twitter and check it out. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.
A secure. Losing A. All flags secured. Hold your position. Enemy has Bravo. Hunter killer drone deployed. Securing B. Securing C. Securing B. Hunter killer drone deployed.